Good morning. It is first Tuesday. It is June the, oh my God, what is it? It's June the 2nd. June the 2nd, our first Tuesday, last Thursday. And I'm here with you, and I'm very proud to be in some, let's just simply say, some confusing, destructive, distorted times. But we need to go forward. And our greatest growth comes from our greatest pain. And I hope there's a lot of growth that comes out of these times. But I'm not going to be focusing on that because today I will be completely blunt with you and tell you that I have shivers. I've met a lot of fantastic people in my life. I've met some wonderful people, and along the way, I've met Jay Abraham, and I'm going to tell you the story about how I met this absolutely incredible guy. He's just getting some stuff ready now behind the scenes, but I was actually asked to get a group of Australians into Sir Elton John's Oscar party. And so they contacted me, they wanted a table, and they were going to bring along a guest. Knew nothing more than that. They gave me the guests' names. I knew nothing. Bearing in mind, I was probably the most, unknown person other than with billionaires and zillionaires. And this Australian group had Jay as one of the guests. I turned up at the London hotel, and Jay will probably remember this. And the crew that I was with, this was on the Saturday, the party was on the Sunday night. The crew were drunk, just gone. They were up on the pool deck. I'd turned up on a motorbike with all the passes. And they invited Jay up to meet me. Jay comes up, chats with me. I knew nothing about Jay. Jay knew nothing about me. We got to chatting a little bit. And I liked the cat. It was as simple as that. I just liked him. Knew nothing about Jay. So then a little while later, we ended up conversing. We ended up on the phone. We ended up doing a few things. And it was in New York for a guy called Joe Polish, who's a mutual friend of ours, for the Genius Network annual event. And I'm sat there at this table, and there's a bunch of people, not really having any conversation with me because I'm the big, ugly, scary guy there. And Jay walks behind me, puts his hands on my shoulder, squeezes my shoulder, and then just kind of like pats the top of my head. Now, anyone that's bald knows that this isn't the kind of thing you do unless you're friendly. And Jay did it to me, and I kind of like turned around thinking, who the hell is this? Because I was getting no love from the table I'm on. And it was Jay. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? What are you doing? Because I had no idea who the Jay Abraham was. And he goes off. I turned around at my table, and everyone at the table wanted to talk to me. And they were like, you know Jay Abraham? And I remember saying, I thought I did. And so I remember going over to Jay and having a little chat with Jay. And then he went up on stage and killed. And I suddenly got to see the myth, the man, the business icon. And I'm so proud it was in that order that I got to meet him as a friend before I got to meet him as a genius. Throughout the years, there's been a handful of people that have mentored and coached me. And I'm proud to say at the top of the list is always Jay. If anyone's thinking out there, hey, I really should get someone just top of the tree, well, presidents, leading motivational speak, the Tony Robbins, the Damon Johns, anyone you can think of is more than likely in Jay's Rolodex, and Jay's worked with them and helped them. So to actually be able to call the guy a friend, but then for him to agree to come on and chat with you guys, you have no idea how I woke up with pins and needles today and how excited I was. So without that, without further ado, I'm actually going to bring my friend in. Let's find out if I can grab him in here. The Jay Abraham. How are you, pal?
That was so gracious and overzealous. I don't deserve it, but thank you. Very nice.
I'm good. But it was all true. I was glad that I got to meet you as a friend before I got to meet the myth. And it was good that it was in that order. And if there's anybody that has been able to kind of like, I was looking for a different word other than scare. But if there's anyone that's been able to scare me, it's you. And you have this, because you have this subtle way, and we've had this because for anyone that doesn't know, Jay was pinnacle in the book, in my pivot into this world, still is. And I'll just get like a little line from Jay just going, why are you not doing this? Or why are you scared to challenge yourself to this? Or why do you think that's not possible? And I'm like, you come across as like this nuclear warhead. You're very quiet. You're very quiet. You're very unassuming. You're very unintimidated. And I will tell people a quick question about when the book came out. We were looking at marketing it before we get into the Q's and A's and who you're going to be speaking with. But I spoke with Jay, and we were on the phone, and Jay was coming up with this marketing, and he was on full force. He was like, well, look, you can do this, and you can gamify it, and then you could do that, and then you can bring in a challenge, and you can motivate your front line to actually start and he was coming out with stuff that I'd never come across before. And I remember at the time he came across with an idea of how we could create a prize if people did a certain amount of stuff. And I had never incentivized my crowd. I'd never run a competition. I'd never run a prize. And this I didn't like. My whole clients had paid for my services. So the idea of me giving away something was insane. And I remember Jay was kind of like confronting me about gamifying my marketing. And I was like, hey, well, that sounds great, you know. And I swiftly moved it along. And I thought to myself, whoo, dodge that one. I don't know if you remember this, Jay, but I was like, oh, yeah, I've dodged that one. You know, I don't have to talk about that. And Jay started off on the conversation that I'd put him down the channel on. And then halfway, we're probably in about 15 minutes. And then he went, let me just stop you now, Steve. Are we ready to go back to the question that scared you? And that was it. He had remembered. It allowed me to kind of like pretend as though I was in control, and then quite appropriately pointed out that I was not. So you're very, very clever at seeing the problem and, more importantly, bringing it to the person's attention by their own discovery. You're not the kind of guy that goes, well, you need to do this. You challenge them to discover what you've already seen probably 10 minutes into the conversation. Are you aware you do that?
Pardon me, I am. I'm trying to figure out. I'm in one of my kids' rooms, and every day I did this, you could see this really cool, and I'm trying to figure the damn thing out. He's got this incredible pictures on his wall, and I'm trying to figure how in the world I've managed to mess that up because it's so cool. And I didn't have I'm very bad at even figuring this out. Anyhow, you can see the guitar. You got a great picture, but I can't figure it out. I'll show you at the end if I can.
All right.
Figure it out. Yes, I am. And it's because one of my many mentors taught me very long ago, if I thrust down your throat philosophically, figuratively, your mind, what I think you should do, you are going to have friction and resistance. If I give you the progressive components and say, okay, so you're telling me this and this and this, so doesn't that equal this or does it equal that? And push it back to you to evaluate and conclude on your own. It has much greater power because it's your idea, not mine.
Yeah. You've always been very good at that. One of the things I want to quickly harp on is that I said right at the beginning before you came on, we're in a dark period of pain at the moment. Distortion, distraction, pain. There's a lot going on. But you mentioned during there about one of your mentors. How important do you think it is to have mentors and coaches? Because I've noticed that there's two kinds of people. There are ones that at this moment in time going, whoa, there's too much chaos. I'm going to back away from getting coaches and mentors. And then there's the others that realize, hey, today I need it more than ever. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think if you don't really proactively, particularly today when everything is new, if you don't proactively commit yourself to access as many brighter, more experienced, more diverse perspectives, you are at a decisive, a total disadvantage. It was interesting. I was talking a couple of weeks ago to Harvey McKay. Those that don't know him, a very famous author, many great books. He's older. And he was telling me he has a listening coach,